Hello, everyone. This hour on Verbling, the next in my great short stories series, we are going to do the discussion. Get my name on the board. Not the board, the video, I meant to say. We're going to do a discussion of one of my favorite short stories in English or any language, The Report on the Shadow Industry. Now, last week we read the story. This week we're going to discuss it. But it's so short that I think we actually ought to read it one more time. Because it's really only a page, but it has a lot going on inside of it, a lot under the surface. While we're waiting for people to come in, I'll do a quick introduction. Remember, just click the green join button when it appears for you, and you can enter the classroom. By the way, my name is John Eric. I'm your Verbling teacher for this hour, and I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out today in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. You can follow me at the link in the chat window to see all my upcoming group classes. Okay? You can also schedule a private class with me. These group classes are great for discussion, but you know you don't get a lot of speaking time individually. So if you have a particular goal, the best thing you could do a tutoring class, and we can set a personal learning plan. Together we can create a personal learning plan to meet your goals. Okay? So beyond that, I'll just say that I've been here on Verbling since February 2013. I've taught over 1,000 classes here. I've been teaching over the last 15 years to adults, to teenagers, to business people. I've taught at companies like BP, Deloitte, Prada, BCG, Bain Capital, many others. I've taught exam classes at universities and high schools in the United States, Portugal, and Lisbon, and I've got a lot of experience. Okay? So whatever your problem is with English, I will help you solve it. Let's get to the class. I'm going to share the material with you right now, and we're going to do a quick review, talk all about what the story means, and most likely begin a second story later in the class as well. Okay? So there you go. There's the link out there in the chat window, and here is a link inside for those of you in the Hangout already. Just a second to post it. There you go. Okay. So I think everyone is able to enter now, so let me say a welcome back to Mr. Jorgen. Hello, Jorgen. Jorgen from Denmark, right? Excellent. Nice to see you. And we've got Anna Carolina with a new picture. Hello, Anna Carolina. How are you?
Hi, teacher. I'm doing well, thank you.
The bunnies are new. Is it because it's Easter, Anna Carolina?
Yes.
I got it. Very good. And we've got Mr. T for a second time. Mr. T, I pity the fool. How are you?
Nice to see you again.
Long time no see.
I'm pity the fool.
And Mr. Vincenzo, how are you today, Mr. Vincenzo?
I'm fine, teacher. Yes,
excellent.
Nice to be with you.
Excellent. And look who it is, Vincenzo. It's Wellington. Wellington, long time no see. I think it's been a year. How are you,
Yes,
Wellington?
It's not.
Hello, how are you?
Yes, it's not time.
Long time no see. When was the last time I saw you, Wellington? I can't
Yeah,
even remember.
I think 3 or 4 days ago, teacher.
No. For Wellington, I haven't seen you in a long time, Wellington.
Well,
Yes, this hour is a little difficult for me attend classes, but now I'm here.
Now you're here. If you send me a message and you tell me the time, I will try to do a class at another time, if Verbling lets me. Right now my schedule is in the morning. Next week it'll be later because of the time change, because of the hour, daylight savings time. So, were any of you in last Friday's class? Because we started to read the story. Jorgen, were you here? I remember you, but I don't remember. No, okay. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. If all of you are new, this is such a short story that we can read it and discuss it in one class. So what we're going to do is we're going to read it. I'm going to skip some of the activities because we won't have time to do that and discussion. So we're going to read it. It's about a page and a half or maybe 2 pages. And we're going to go right to the discussion. In the discussion, we're going to talk about what the story really means because it's a report. It's fiction, but it's a report. It's written like a marketing report in a way, something between a report and an article. So it has an unusual style. But we have to figure out why it's written that way. What is the author really trying to tell us? Okay? So if you don't have the link open, don't worry. I'll also share my screen, and I'm going to do that right now. And by the way, this is written by an Australian author, Peter Carey, if I remember right, who lives in New York. And I've got to find some other short stories by him because this is one of my all-time favorites, so I think you'll like it too. It's strange. Okay, here we go. Report on the shadow industry. Let's go down to... by the way, later on, if you want, check out the interview with Peter Carey. Okay, we've got an interview and we've got a little article about him as well. Okay, so I'm going to skip the warm-up. I'm going to go right to the story on page 4. Sorry, on page 4. Okay, and if you were here last class or if you're watching, okay, the story is so short that it's probably a good review that we read it together, so it won't take that long. All right, so let's go in this order. We're going to start with Mr. T. I'm just going to go in the order that I see you on my screen. So it's going to be Mr. T, and then Anna Carolina, and then Jorgen, and then Jose, and then Vincenzo, and then Wellington, and we're going to go back to the beginning. Okay, we're going to do 1 paragraph each, and you're probably going to get a chance to read 2 times. If there's any questions, just ask along the way. Class, are you ready to read?
Yes, teacher, ready to go.
Yes.
When I say ready, you say ready. Are you ready?
Ready.
Ready. Mr. T, start us off. Report on the shadow industry, part 1.
Yes, part 1. My friends, what is S stand for?
Oh, this is a report, so we can't give people's real names.
Okay,
So
I see.
You know, you're T and he's S. It's just like you.
My friend is went to live in America. My friend is went to live in America 10 years ago, and I still have the letter he wrote me when he first arrived, wherein he described the shadow factories that were springing up on the West Coast and the effect they were having on that society.
Perfect reading. Excellent. And
Continue?
we're going to do 1 paragraph each. These are short. Okay? Anna Carolina, next one.
You see people in dark glasses wandering around the supermarket at 2 a.m. There are great boxes all along the aisles, all along the aisles. Some as expensive as $50, but most of them are only $5. There's always music. It gives me the...
Don't say that word.
I didn't. More than the shadows. Although the packets give no indications of what's inside, it really depresses me to think of people going out at 2 in the morning because they need to try their luck with a shadow. Last week I was in the supermarket near Topanga, and I saw an old man tear the end of a shadow box. He was arrested almost immediately.
he was arrested almost immediately. Oh my God! I wonder why. What are these shadow boxes? One pronunciation word, Anna Carolina. This word is something that doesn't exist anymore. It used to be the music you would hear in an elevator or a store or a supermarket, and it was called Muzak. Muzak.
Muzak.
That's right.
What does wearing mean?
What?
The first wearing?
In which
No. In the first paragraph. Sorry.
Wherein? Oh, I'm sorry. Wherein? Wherein? Say it for me. Wherein?
Wearing.
Yeah. It's a formal way to say. Hang on a second. Let me think of a simple word. When he arrived, wherein? You could say where. You could just say where. He wrote a letter where he describes the shadow factories. So, in a simple way, he means inside the letter he describes the shadow factories. But this is a slightly formal way to say where plus inside together. So you don't say this when you're speaking normally, but you can say it when you're writing a report. Wherein?
Could we say, teacher, in which?
Yes, of course, in which.
Okay, thanks.
And just like in which, we don't say it, but we write it. So we say it in a simple way, but we write it in this formal way. Wherein? There was a law wherein the government decreed that all men shall be created equal. So it sounds very formal. Okay? Okay. So you've got to start to think, what are these shadow factories, and what are these shadow boxes that are appearing in stores and supermarkets? Start to think about that. Mr. Jorgen, you've got a short one here. Take it for us.
A strange letter 10 years ago, but it accurately described scenes that have since become common in this country. Yesterday I drove in from the airport, past shadow factory after shadow factory. Large faceless buildings gleaming in the sun, their secrets guarded by ex-policemen with Alsatian dogs.
Almost. Alsatian.
Alsatian dogs.
Good. What is an Alsatian? Do you know?
No.
An Alsatian is a German Shepherd. It's like if you Google for Alsatian, you'll see those German Shepherds, and they remind us of the dogs in a concentration camp. Those guard dogs, basically, guard dogs. By the way, say this word too, accurately.
Accurately.
Good. Accurately. It accurately describes. By the way, accurately. Accurately. So the stress is actually on the first syllable. Accurately. Once more?
Yes, accurately.
Okay, good. So because I was hearing the stress later in the word when you were saying it, but the second time was good. All right. So as he's driving back from the airport, these factories are everywhere, and they're guarded with guard dogs, Alsatians. Okay, next up is Mr. Jose.
Okay. The shadow factories have huge chimneys that reach far into the sky, chimneys which billow forth smoke of different brilliant colors. It is said by some of my more cynical friends that this smoke has nothing to do with any manufacturing process and is merely a trick, fake evidence that technological miracles are being performed within the factories. The popular belief is that the smoke sometimes contains the most powerful shadows of all, those that are too large and powerful to be packaged. It is a common sight to see old women standing for hours outside the factories, staring into the smoke.
Okay, good. Say this word again.
Okay. Wo women.
Women, correct.
Women. Okay.
Because you said, it sounded like you said woman when you were reading.
Women. Okay.
Exactly. And remember that women is the most irregular sounding word in the English language because it's completely different than the way it's written. And for those of you who like the IPA, I'll see if I can. Hold on a second. Definition. Let's see if I can just put the IPA symbols. Here we go. I'm going to put this in the chat window. Oh no, I'll put it here in the text. One second. But I want you to see that it's an I sound, like that. Women. Okay?
Women. Okay.
You probably know it, but when you see it written, it's really easier to remember.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. So since we read this last week, I'm going to save all the discussion till the very end. But I want you to think about what's happening. This guy is describing, I assume it's a guy, I don't know. This person is describing shadow factories appearing everywhere. And some of his cynical friends say that the smoke coming from the factories is nothing. It's just a trick. It's a trick to make people think something is going on inside. What does cynical mean, by the way, class? What is cynical?
Cynical is a kind of, how can I say, oh my gosh, hypocrite. No.
Not necessarily no. Hypocritical, not necessarily.
Hypocritical, no. Motivated by self-interest. Distrustful.
Distrustful is a good word, yeah. So cynical people usually are negative, right? Sometimes you can be cynical and you're just being funny, you're just joking. But you're looking at the negative side of things. So his cynical friends, his negative friends, think that the smoke is there just to trick people. Fake evidence that something technological is happening inside. Right? And this other line is important to think about. Popular belief is that the smoke from the factories contains the most powerful shadows. Most powerful shadows. My God, what are these shadows? And what are they doing to people? So think about that for a moment. Let's see. So Nina, I know you just joined us. If you need a link to the story, it's there in the chat window for you. Okay. And we're each taking a paragraph of this short story. So we're going to go Vincenzo, Wellington, and then you, Nina. Okay? Hopefully you can hear me. And billow is what smoke does when it comes out of the chimney. It's what clouds do when you see them moving across the sky. So is billow a fast movement or a slow movement? What do you think? Fast or slow? If the clouds are billowing,
slow.
Very slow.
No.
So to move like a cloud is to billow. Usually billow means to go from small to bigger, to bigger, to biggest, but very slowly. To billow. So billowing for smoke, that means it comes out and gets bigger and bigger. Mr. Vincenzo, you are up.
Yeah.
You're going to take us to the end of part 1 here.
Yes. There are a few who say the smoke is dangerous because of carcinogenic. Chemicals used in the manufacture of shadows. Others argue that the shadow is a natural product and by its very nature chemically pure. They point to the advantages of the smoke, the beautifully colored patterns in the clouds which serve as a reminder of the happiness to be obtained from a fully realized shadow. There may be some merit in this last argument, for on cloudy days the skies above our city are a wondrous sight, full of blues and vermilions and brilliant greens without strange patterns and shapes in the clouds.
Others?
Others say the clouds now contain the dreadful beauty of the apocalypse.
There you go.
Dreadful beauty of the apocalypse.
What is the
It's very
apocalypse? What is the apocalypse?
Apocalypse. As when there is a destruction of something.
Exactly.
Apocalypse.
The destruction of the world is the apocalypse.
The world, yes.
Exactly.
Dreadful beauty. It's very strange
So
way to define this.
it is. So it is a strange way. So the point is, does everyone have the same opinion about the shadows and the colors of the shadows? Does everyone feel the same, or do different people have different opinions? Let's clarify that first.
It seems like a concentration camp. I don't understand.
It does. It does seem like that.
Oh, no.
It does seem a little bit like that. They're describing what life is like in America, I guess, but it does feel like a concentration camp. There's guard dogs,
Ah, yes.
right? And there's factories with smoke, and we all remember World War II and what the factories were doing in the concentration camps. So you're absolutely right. It's not an accident.
Dreadful beauty.
He's giving us a kind of a hint about things that happened in the past. It's a kind of metaphor. So I think you've got the right idea.
I don't understand why he can say this way, the dreadful beauty of the apocalypse.
The
Yes,
apocalypse.
to express in this way. It seems very strange. It seems like a German garb.
Huh? Well,
See.
I'll say this.
Okay.
Some people think the colors are beautiful, but other people don't. Other people are afraid of these colors. So something about the colors and the smoke scares some people. And yet, earlier, we heard about people going to the supermarket and tearing open the shadow boxes to get to the shadows. So for some people, the shadows are very important. Maybe even like, it sounds almost like people who need alcohol. They've got to drink. They've got to open the bottle in the store. So all of this is a strange kind of a metaphor. We have to decipher what it means at the end. Okay, that's the end of part one. The rest of the parts are very short. So we're almost halfway through the story already. Mr. Wellington, we're going to skip down to part two. And give me just a second. Let me see. Part two. You're going to do part two. I'm going to ask you to do the first, right to the middle here, Mr. Wellington. Okay? Take that part for us, okay?
Okay. The shadows are packed in large lavish boxes. The shadows are packed in larger lavish boxes which are printed with abstract designs in many colors. The Bureau of Statistics revealed that the average householder spends 25% of his income of these expensive goods, and that this percentage increases as the income decreases. There are those who say that the shadows are bad for people, promising an impossible happiness that can never be realized, and thus detracting
right,
from the very real beauties of nature and life. But there are others who argue that the shadows have always been with us in one form or another, and that the package shadow is necessary for mental health in an advanced technological society.
Okay, stop there for a second. Just repeat this word. Argue.
Argue.
That's it. Argue. And one more for the past tense. Packaged.
Packaged.
Be careful because you're adding an extra syllable. It's not packaged, but listen again. Packaged. I'm going to say it faster. Packaged. Packaged.
Packaged. Packaged.
That's better.
Sorry.
That's better. So be careful because we don't say packaged. We don't add that ed at the end. You have to say it without the e. So imagine the G and the D were together like this. Packaged. Packaged. Like that. Packaged.
Packaged. Packaged.
Okay. Yeah, that was it. That last time was perfect. Okay, before we talk about this, we're going to keep going. So we're back to, Nina. Nina, can you take us to the end of the paragraph here?
Sure. There is, however, research to indicate that the high suicide rate in advanced countries is connected with the popularity of shadow cells, and that there is a direct statistical correlation between shadow cells and suicide rate. This has been explained by those who hold that the shadows are merely veilers to the soul, and that the man who stares into a shadow box is only himself, and what beauty he finds, that is his own beauty, and what despair he experiences is born of the poverty of his spirit.
Okay, when you think about this paragraph, everyone, remember, this is fiction, of course, and it's written like a report, and it's very mysterious. We don't really know what these shadows are, but it does remind us of other things. Is there a country that's famous for being a place where everyone is comfortable, but has high suicide rates? Because there's a kind of a stereotype you think of when you think of suicide. In Europe, what's the country that's supposed to have high suicide rates, class? A country where everyone is relatively wealthy, relatively comfortable. What do you think?
Poor countries.
That's the ironic thing, Mr. D. It's not a poor country that I'm thinking of. Jürgen, what's the suicide rate in Denmark? Is it high or is it low?
Well, I think it's over average, over the mean.
A little above average?
Yes, I think so.
That's the impression I got too. So this paragraph reminds me not of Denmark, but of some of those northern European countries like Finland or places like that, where life is great, and yet there seems to be a problem with suicide. It reminds me of that situation, like he's making a kind of an illusion. So, look at the explanation here. Nina, you read this. What is the explanation for the suicide rate? How is it connected to these mysterious shadows? This is a very strange sentence, but what do you think? Could you say this in a simple way? What's your impression in a simple, plain English? What's the explanation?
The suicide rate is higher if people who live in the like wider boxes of shadows. Because he like, you know, make people imagine something about themselves.
Ah, okay. It's like this line here about mirrors to the soul, right?
Right. And then
What is that? Mhm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, continue. I'm sorry. Go
Yes,
ahead.
and then they like imagine things, and sometimes turn out like people to themselves.
All right. So, yeah, I agree. This line about mirrors seems really important. Somehow looking into the shadows is like looking into a mirror and seeing yourself. So what beauty you find is there is because you had it, and what despair is there is something you had too. So it's like a reflection, but maybe a reflection of part of you that you didn't know about.
Yeah.
You don't know what you look like until you look in the mirror, right? Sometimes it's surprising. The other day I looked in the mirror and I had gray hair. When did that when did that happen?
This is a reality teacher.
When did that happen? Look at this. Look at this. What is this? What is this? Where did that come from? It's impossible. I never had that in my life. Now I got it. I don't know. Okay, very good. So let's continue. We're on to Mr. T. Now these, in part 3, the paragraphs get really short. Mr. T, take this one.
Sure. Wait a second.
This is on page 8. 8 now.
Okay. Part 3. I visited my mother at Christmas. I visited my mother at Christmas. She lives alone with her dogs in a poor part of town. Knowing her weakness for shadows, I brought her several of the more expensive variety, which she retired to examine the privacy of shadow room. She stayed in the room for such a long time that I became worried and knocked on the door. She came down almost immediately. When I saw her face, I knew the shadows had not been good ones.
Yeah, what do you think happened in that room, Mr. T? What do you think happened? If you had to guess.
I'm not sure.
Me neither. But isn't it interesting that she has a room in her house which is a shadow room? So does she look at the shadows in front of her son? Does she look at the shadows with her son? Yes or no?
No.
No, she doesn't. She retires to the privacy of a shadow room, a special room in her house just for shadows. Think about that for a minute. Anna Carolina, keep going. What happens after that?
I'm sorry, I said, but she kissed me quickly and began to tell me about a neighbor who had won the lottery. I myself know only too well the disappointments of shadow boxes, for I also have a weakness in that direction. For me, it's something of a guilty secret, something that would not be approved of by my clever friends. I saw Jay in the street. She teaches at the university.
Why do you think he says a guilty secret? What does that sound like to you? What do these shadows sound like? It's a guilty secret.
I don't know. Well, she blames herself for something that she had done.
Yeah, could be. And the secret here is that apparently he too looks at the shadows, and somehow that's called a weakness. I have a weakness in that direction. Okay, well, we're almost finished with the story, actually, so let's find out about his friend Jay at the end of part 3. Mr. Jorgen, tell me about Jay.
She said knowingly, tapping the bulky parcel I had hidden under my coat. I know she will make capital of this discovery. A little piece of gossip to use at the dinner parties she is so fond of. Yet I suspect that she too has a weakness for shadows. She confessed as much to me some years ago during that strange misunderstanding she still likes to call our affair. It was she who hinted at the feeling of emptiness, that awful despair that comes when one has failed to grasp the shadow.
Wow. Did she catch him doing something, Jürgen?
Yes.
What did she catch him doing? What is...
I think I lost the thread.
Here, what is the
Yes.
bulky parcel? What do you think she caught him doing? Aha! Tapping the bulky parcel.
Yes.
What's he holding? What does she catch him holding?
Well, it's a parcel of a shadow.
Yeah, remember they come in boxes, and you can
Yes.
buy them in stores. And it's hidden under his coat, so he didn't want anyone to see it.
Yes.
And this is a weird expression, make capital of this discovery. That's not something you hear every day. What do you think that means?
Well, she will use it perhaps in gossip to
Yeah.
be interesting for in the sight of others. She really have
Exactly.
something to gossip about.
Perfect. So make capital of means to use it to her advantage, to use it in some way.
To be interested in to be interesting in the sight of others.
Right. And it's not something that he wants people to know about. So it's going to be like using it against him to be interesting in a conversation somewhere else, to use it against, to use it to your advantage, to make capital of. So this is a very strange paragraph. What do you think, last question, class, this is for all of you, what do you think the strange misunderstanding was? He doesn't say what it is, but he mentions a strange misunderstanding. By the way, fond of just means to like, to enjoy, to like. I'm fond of skiing. I like skiing. So it's just another way to say to like something. By the way, what do you think the strange misunderstanding is? He doesn't say what it is, but he just calls it a misunderstanding. She likes to call it our affair. What do you think happened between the two of them? Did she not understand something he said?
Well, they had a relationship to each other, I believe.
They had a relationship?
Yes, perhaps a
Ah.
short, passionate relationship.
Short,
That she likes to
passionate.
call our affair. I don't know.
Yeah. The implication is that it's short, passionate, and probably physical.
Yes.
And something happened and they're not together anymore. So, misunderstanding, a euphemism, right? We say it's a euphemism, meaning that a euphemism is when you don't say things directly. You call them by another name. A euphemism. So rather than saying, you know, well, we had sex one time, it's too direct. So we say, a strange misunderstanding. And afterwards, he thinks that she has his interest in shadows because she hinted at a feeling of emptiness, that awful despair when one is not grasped. Grasped means to understand. I didn't grasp it mentally. Failed to understand the shadow that you looked at. All right. We've got 2 paragraphs left. We're going to go to Mr. Jose first for part 4. Go for it, Jose.
Yes. My own father left home because of something he had seen in a box of shadows. It wasn't an expensive box, either, quite the opposite, a little surprise my mother had bought with the money left over from her housekeeping. He opened it after dinner on Friday night, and he was gone before I came down for breakfast on the Saturday. He left a note which my mother only showed me very recently. My father was not good with words and had trouble communicating.
Communicating. Good.
But his in words cannot express if what I feel because of the things I saw in the box of shadows you both me.
Wow. Jose, Just say this word again. Recently.
Recently.
Careful with the R. Careful with the R. Not R, but R. Recently.
Recently.
That's it. Very good. That's it. Very good. Very good. So, what did the mother do to the father that led to him leaving? What did she do? Just to be clear. Jose, what did she do that made him leave? Did she do something?
The mother.
Yeah.
My father.
Just to be clear about what actually happened. Did the mother do something to make the father leave? So this is partly to clarify and also partly your opinion. Did the mother do anything to make the father leave? Is it her fault that he left? What do you think? Is it anyone's fault that he left? Who is guilty here?
Who is guilty? The father, no?
I think so, yeah. I think so.
The father is guilty.
I don't think it's the mother.
No, the father is guilty.
Mm-hmm. And what did the mother do? She gave him an innocent gift, a box of shadows, and he couldn't handle what he saw. It made him leave. So the father left. I just wanted to clarify that paragraph. And it was not an expensive shadow because it's from her housekeeping money.
Yeah.
So these are not rich people. She's a housekeeper.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to come back to all this in just a minute. Our last paragraph, our very last paragraph, is going to go to Mr. Vincenzo. Last one.
My own feelings about the shadows are ambivalent, to say the least. For here I have manufactured one more, elusive, unsatisfactory, hinting at greater beauties and more profound mysteries that exist somewhere before the beginning and somewhere after the end.
And that is Report on the Shadow Industry class. Listen to that last paragraph one more time because it's a biggie. Listen again. My own feelings about the shadows are ambivalent, to say the least. For here I have manufactured one more. One more what? We have to think about that. Elusive, unsatisfactory, hinting at greater beauties and more profound mysteries that exist somewhere before the beginning and somewhere after the end. I have no idea what that means.
Somewhere before the beginning, somewhere after the end. It's very strange, you know.
Yeah. It's kind of like the text is a shadow. It's very hard to see through the text and understand what it means. Okay. This is a story where all the meaning is just hinted at. It's below the surface. So let's open up our discussion with our esteemed Mr. Wellington. Mr. Wellington, I'm going to ask your opinion about the first question. What for you, if there is one, this is your opinion, what for you is the most powerful sentence in, it says each, but it could be anywhere in the story. There's 5 sections. I want you to tell me if there's a particular sentence that stands out as being strong for you. Okay? The rest of you can think of some examples as well. What do you think, Wellington?
I think the strong sentence was that they talk about the factories, the
Yeah, in the beginning, you mean?
Yes, yes, the beginning. When he talked about the beginning, I think the first that the people don't talk, don't look each other. Yes, I
Yeah,
think the
yeah,
first.
yeah. Here, up here.
Yes, this is one of the strongest.
Okay. And why does that sentence affect you? How does it make you feel?
It's real because now we face this every day. Uh,
Absolutely. I agree,
yeah,
yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know my neighbor,
Yes, yes,
and
yeah.
we live here for 8 years, but I don't know.
I know exactly what you mean. And
I,
go ahead, yeah.
no. Go ahead, please.
And earlier, Vincenzo, you said it feels like a kind of a concentration camp or a prison, and it does feel that way. And this sentence is a great example. It's all about boxes and containment and guarding things and secrets. Everywhere in this small story, there's a hint of something bigger, and it's always about what's inside the box, and we don't know. Just like we don't know our neighbors, and our neighbors are inside the little box, which is their apartment. And we're in our box, which is another apartment. So I agree with you. I think it has a lot to do with the way we live now, in cities, boxed off.
I understand now the tale. The, yes,
What do you think, Vincenzo?
I think that every one of us is like a universe that we don't know, and that's the I think the spirit of the story to express this. And everyone, we are looking for something that we don't know about us.
Yeah.
Mm, could be.
I think that is a big part of it, yeah. Now, some other questions I have for you to make you think about the story.
Sometimes that could yes, could bring to die, to suicide, to know the reality, the truth.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
You mean talking, you mean this, a story like this gets people to see.
To discover our identity, what we are real inside, that we are our
Exactly.
inner self.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And that's what people seem to discover when they look at the shadows.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like something that even they weren't aware of, at least some people. Nina, do you think the story is set in the future, or does it take place now?
Takes place right now.
What makes you think that?
Because a lot of the story when the author talk about is like all the activity or something happening right now.
Okay, so the way he describes it, it sounds like it's happening now with the present tense, that kind of thing. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And does it feel like society today? Does this feel like a contemporary situation? Like Vincenzo was saying, or Wellington was saying, oh, this reminds me of me and my neighbors. I think it reminds all of us of our neighbors. So, could this story have taken place in the past, Nina? I think it would be
it could happen in the past too. Because it helped people or reader even think about related the story to their experience or something that related to their circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's both in the past. Some happened in the past, some in the present. Yeah.
All right. I have a theory about why this is why everyone thinks it's set in the present, pretty much. And I have a theory about why it's set in the present. But I'll hold off for just a moment. Okay? I'll get back to it in just a second. I'll tell you my theory at the end, and you tell me if you agree. The next question is for Anna Carolina. Anna Carolina, why do people buy shadow boxes in the story? Some people seem to have really bad experiences, so why do they do it? What do you think they want?
Because they would like to know about themselves. Maybe they want to know their souls. Their deepest feeling.
The deepest feelings.
Yes.
Do you think that people, in this, according to what we read, do you think that people are expecting to have a bad experience or expecting to have a good experience?
They expect to have a good experience.
They do. But look at the mother of the narrator. Did she have a good experience?
No.
Yeah.
She didn't.
So my question is, I don't know if you agree with me, Anna Carolina, but my question is, as I read this, I think there seems to be so many bad experiences, emotional experiences. There must be a reason that people keep doing it. So why do they keep doing it? So that's the question that I have in my mind. What do you think about that? Yeah, go ahead.
I guess people are trying to, how can I say, they crave for self-knowledge. No, how can I say self-knowledge?
Self-knowledge, it makes sense. Yeah, it's okay.
They want to know how they are inside themselves.
Do most people want to know?
And they don't believe they are bad people.
Ah, okay.
They believe they are better than they are, indeed.
So they want self-knowledge, but they're not prepared for what they find, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, some of these questions I think are too simple. So the last two I think are the most important questions. Okay, so the last question we're going to answer is a group. The question before is about the mood. Mr. Jorgen, what do you think about the mood? What word best captures the mood of the story as you read it?
But I think both mystery and also gloomy. I don't know if you can say gloominess.
Good. It's a good word. Gloominess. Right. And what does gloominess mean to you?
Well, it means like dark or gray or a kind of sadness, or when I read the story, I see these factories before me with smoke, and that we all know of in cities, like a gloomy, a little sad atmosphere with people that are looking for something that can make them happy, and they are lonely and so forth. And smoke coming up of chimneys, I think that's like a gloomy mood over the whole story.
Absolutely. It's like the whole story is inside a shadow. There's like darkness everywhere. Yeah. Gloominess is like a cloud in the story. And I think you're right, too. It seems so connected with the city, with people in little boxes, in their lives, in routines. And there's nothing natural. Nothing feels natural. There's no trees in the story. There's no green. There's no water. There's no nothing. You just see clouds, what looks like pollution, like the colors of oil on the street, bright vermilion and blue. Those kind of colors that we associate with pollution. Okay, the last question is for all of you. What is in the shadow boxes? What is it?
Chocolate.
Say again?
Secret.
It's secrets.
No, secret.
Secrets.
Secrets.
It's
Consciousness.
no, it's his inner self. They can see themselves as they are, with all voids, with all, no, I can say, bad things.
Exactly. To see yourself. Oh, cigarettes. Nina said cigarettes.
No cigarettes. Cigarettes.
Where we are the memories.
Memories, Wellington?
Yes, memories.
For me,
Yeah.
they have a consciousness. Consciousness.
Consciousness. So they're alive.
Yes.
Interesting. That would make a great movie, by the way. Tell me about the consciousness.
Yes,
It's
yes,
interesting.
teacher. Yes, people are looking for their to solve their emptiness
Right.
that have in their life, and so they have to discover their inner self in these boxes, and that's the problem, because the inner self is not only good but also bad. We have bad things that you have to
Oops, you're breaking up a little bit. You're breaking up. There's good and bad in all of us, and we might not want to see it. Anna Carolina, I think we cut you off earlier. What were you saying?
Well, I guess there is consciousness inside the boxes, because when people look at the shadow, they have to face up their oh my gosh, their own soul.
Mm-hmm. By the way, you mean consciousness, or do you mean being conscious, like being aware? So do you mean that they're
They have
alive?
they have to be aware. They have to look
okay. So awareness. It's better to say awareness.
awareness.
Okay. It's a kind of awareness.
I also
Awareness and knowledge at the same time.
You can also,
And
perhaps you can also say that the shadow boxes they provide some kind of light, enlightenment, because they cast a shadow for the person.
Enlightenment.
I think
Kind of enlightenment.
they enlighten the person about who he is and what he contains, I think, and shows him or her hidden beauties and hidden sides of that person.
Jürgen?
Like a mirror to the soul, it says, and it also says that what kind of beauty he finds there is his own beauty, and what despair he experiences is born of the poverty of his spirit. So I think you can perhaps say that the boxes provide some kind of enlightenment, or tells the person something about himself that no other people can see and can provide for him. So
Jürgen,
that's why they get.
You are officially a genius.
But there is also ugliness in these boxes, yeah?
1 second, let me just make one comment. Jürgen, I like that idea very much, because you've given us a paradox. The shadows are a form of light. That's a brilliant idea. That this is a story about shadows, but in the end, what we get is light. And that light shines a light of truth on who we really are. You're a genius. You need to be a literary critic, Jürgen. All right? That's your job from now on. Okay, we've got to end the class, but final thoughts, especially from Mr. T and Mr. Jose. You've been very quiet. Final thoughts on the shadow industry. Any final thoughts? Do you like the story?
Yes.
Did you like it?
Yes, I like the history.
Thumbs up?
Yes, yeah. It's a very deep one, Teach. Very profound.
It's a good one. Short, but deep. Very good. All right, we're going to stop here. You can send any questions or comments about the story to me through the message system if you've got anything you want to clarify. Okay? We're going to be doing another story next week. If there's one particular you want to work on, send me a message and we'll do it. I'll be back Monday morning at 9 a.m. for 10 a.m. 10 a.m. GMT for a pronunciation class. Maybe tomorrow, if there's an extra slot, I'll do something fun. I don't know. We'll see. And by the way, before I go, have a great weekend. Don't forget to follow me on Verbling to see my upcoming group classes or to book a trial lesson with me. Bye for now, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Goodbye. Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Beware of the shadows. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.